It goes without saying that superhero films involving flying and genetically modified troll monsters would require a certain amount of CGI. Indeed, some of the work in Batman v Superman was pretty blatant. Doomsday, the explosions, the bats that swarm young Bruce at the start. Practically none of these things could really be achieved without some of Adobe's most expensive programs. But with the recent release of its admittedly impressive VFX reel, a lot has been revealed about the nature of BVS's production. With background, stunts, destruction, costume details, and even characters' movements being generated, was any of it real? I'm Ben from Whatculture, and here are 10 completely CGI moments you didn't notice in Batman v Superman. Or maybe you did. Let's have a look. Number 10. The destruction of Metropolis. Right, okay, now I know you all believed this was real. One of the film's many openings in the centerpiece of several trailers saw Bruce Wayne running through Metropolis during the destructive third act of Man of Steel, first in a Jeep and then on foot. Being a hero, he was running towards some endangered citizens as a hefty cloud of smoke rushed up the road to meet him. The VFX reel shows us that precisely none of the environmental destruction around Bruce was engineered practically during shooting. There are no chunks of building falling loose and no debris of any kind in the vicinity, and even the cloud of smoke, which looked both real and rather cool in the finished film, especially when Bruce braced himself to enter it, didn't actually exist on set. Impressively, the entire scene was basically just Ben Affleck reacting to nothing. Number 9. Superman's cape. The slow-motion montage of Henry Cavill's Superman performing a series of daring rescues and basically looking like Jesus was particularly memorable and highly fake, it turns out. The flooded townspeople Soup's rescues were actually stood on false roofs in an empty car park, and the spacecraft launch site he visited didn't exist as a physical location at all. And obviously Cavill didn't hold a rocket above his head because he's not actually Superman. It was just a big green box. This portion of the effects reel also highlights a surprising costume detail. Cavill's Superman cape was also made with CGI. To get the perfect swooping motions behind the last son of Krypton, Snyder and company opted to ditch real-life capes altogether and let the effects boffins handle it. Number 8. Batman's big entrance. One of the more iconic shots in the film sees Batman leap from his Batplane and through a window to beat up some thugs with his cape billowing beautifully behind him. It's actually one of the few shots in the film that shows how Zack actually really does understand the iconography of Batman, even if he does like ignoring tiny details like his entire moral code. The FX reel shows the lead up to the shot being filmed practically, with one of Batfleck's stuntmen clambering out of the plane and onto a green screen structure, but the jump and the window smash was pure CGI. There's no window, no glass, no plane, and no Batman actor in this frame. It's all just pixels. Number 7. The Batmobile. In the expensive-looking sequence where Batman attempts to get his hands on Lex Luthor's kryptonite stash, there's some fast and furious Batmobile action, and the side-by-side comparison in the VFX reel shows just how different the finished product is to what they actually shot. It's quite funny, really. The Batmobile looked so epic in this scene, but the real-life equivalent was a few wheels and some scaffolding bars trundling along rather unglamorously. The digital artists that transformed this into something so cool-looking deserve an immediate raise. Number 6. 100% of the Batcave entrance. When Bats returns to his lair, the Batmobile whizzes down a tunnel before entering a cavernous portion of the Batcave and crossing a little bridge in an impressive sequence that was, you guessed it, rendered completely digitally. To be fair to Snyder and his cohorts, finding an actual cave where this could be filmed would have been near impossible, and you can't just go and ask Batman to use his, because he's busy. If they priced it up and CGI was cheaper than doing it for real, who can blame them really? It still looked very cool and most people wouldn't have even noticed. Number 5. Capitol Hill, except for the steps. Of course, Snyder didn't actually blow up Capitol Hill during the production of Batman v Superman. That would be ridiculous, you idiot! But it's rather surprising to learn that he didn't even go there. As this side-by-side shows, all they actually had were some steps and a load of extras with signs. The building and the weather were both added during post-production. Even Superman's entrance into the scene was achieved digitally. While there might have been a way to rig some cranes and some wires to make it look like Henry Cavill was flying in, instead they just opted to add him in later. Again, it was probably the cheaper option, and it looked fine in the end. Number 4. The rooftop confrontation. At the climax of the film, Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor throws Lois Lane off LexCorp Tower, luring Superman into a rooftop confrontation where Lex can reveal his weird plan to make Superman fight Batman in the hope that one of them will die. It's an awful scene, frankly, but did you notice that the roof, the sky, and the cityscape were all digital creations? All of this was shot within a studio, with big green screen walls filling in for the Metropolis skyline, fake rain being deployed, and a great big fan making it look all windy. This one seems a bit odd. Admittedly, shooting on a rooftop might have been slightly dangerous, but could they not have at least shot it outside? Number 3. Superman vs. Doomsday. Nobody in their right mind would think Doomsday was a live-action creation, but surely the human being Henry Cavill is present in the final showdown? Not all the time, by the looks of it. Fleeting moments in the VFX reel revealed that some shots from the big Doomsday vs. Superman bust-up were created in an entirely digital plane. Even though these shots fly by quite quickly, it remains impressive that they could make a digital Superman look so believable. The frames look so good in the finished film that you wouldn't even notice Cavill was missing. Number 2. Superman's funeral location. Yeah, so rather than scout out a location for Superman's funeral, the filmmakers instead opted to just shoot it on the Warner Brothers lot and superimpose a nice background later. And it looks like this was shot in the same outdoor area as Superman's aforementioned rooftop rescue, just essentially a car park. Surely this would have been harder and more expensive than just finding a real-life place and shooting the funeral procession there. The whole sky is fake, and the trees and the statues. All of this time and money seems oddly wasted. But I think most impressively of all is that you can see when they add the horrible brown-grey filter to it all. That's a good look for a film right there. No. Number 1. An entire city. This cityscape, which boasts rows upon rows of fake buildings, must have been immensely time-consuming and costly, and all for what is essentially an establishing shot. It's unlikely that anyone would have spared this frame so much as a second glance when they watched the film, and yet it would have presumably taken weeks of work for the VFX artists and thousands of dollars for Warner Bros. What's the point? Presumably, in this case, the CGI was needed to make Metropolis look unlike any real city, but still, it's a lot of effort for a few seconds of filler between scenes, and usually they just add a few buildings in to an existing cityscape. And that's our list. Are there any other examples of sneaky and sometimes superfluous CGI we missed off? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can even follow me here on Twitter if you fancy. I'm Ben from Whatculture, and thanks for watching.